hosted by, thanks. Thank you. Welcome to our first mid-year State of the Association hosted by Florida PTA on this Road to Success Wednesday. Next slide. I want to welcome you on behalf of the Board of Directors, the staff of Florida PTA, and of course your executive committee to this evening, where we hope that you will get lots of information and be thoroughly entertained and engaged. Can someone read the mission for me and our tagline? Except Charmaine, who knows it by heart. I have to say that every time. I'll take any volunteer. Don't be shy.
Okay, hello.
I go ahead, Mary. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The PTA mission: every child, one voice. PTA mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children.
And once again, I'm going to take a page out of National PTA's book, Anna King specifically, and ask you, Mary, if you would share with us what that means to you.
Okay. Every child matters. Every child. And my advocacy should be directed and embody that concept that is one voice for every child, one voice. Our advocacy should always be in alignment with that mission statement. And that's all I have right now.
That's perfect. Spot on. We should care about each and every child, not just our own children. Of course, it starts out with my child. Then it gets to your child, and then it becomes our children. Thank you, Mary. Next slide, please. So I'd like to do some brief introductions of your elected officers. We will introduce the other board members who are on as their commissions are called. And then, of course, we will introduce our wonderful staff members who have joined us here this evening. I'm Carolyn Nelson-Goddard, your president of Florida PTA. Maxine Lours, our president-elect, was with us earlier. I hope she's back on now. I don't see her. Vice President for Leadership Development and our tech person for this evening is Lawrence Claremont.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Our Vice President for Regions and Councils is Bert Miller.
Thank you, everybody, for being here and taking time away from your families to spend with us tonight.
Vice President for Membership Development, Charmaine Postal.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Our Vice President for Educational Development, Karen Mazzola, is not able to be with us this evening, but we're going to keep her in our thoughts. Our Secretary, Melanie Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My favorite family. Welcome.
I am going to tell your husband and sons you said that. And lastly, our Treasurer, Jude Bruno.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening.
And if you couldn't tell, Jude is a daddy. All right, next slide, please. So our agenda for this evening. In just 1 hour, a little less than an hour, we're going to talk to you about how PTA got started, where we, Florida PTA, are today. We'll give you some commission and program information. We'll talk about staying connected and engaged with Florida PTA. And we'll review upcoming events, which will be mentioned to you under individual commissions as they go through their presentations. So for the last 125 years, PTA has been advocating for all children with one voice. In 1897, the National Congress of Mothers was founded by Alice McLean Burney and Phoebe Appleton Hearst. The current iteration of National PTA came about in 1970 when the National Congress of Parents and Teachers and the National Congress of Colored Parents and Teachers, which was founded by Selena Sloan Butler, merged on behalf of all children. Since then, it's been with one voice. Not some children, not those children, not just your children, but all children. So let's talk just for a little bit about where we are as Florida PTA today. Your board of directors consists of 45 members. Those 45 members fall under 5 commissions, as well as having additional committees under our treasurer and our secretary. That's something new this term, that the treasurer and secretary have committees under them. We found it that it was appropriate for each officer to have some skin in the game, to be a part of the mission of PTA and to direct some of the work that we do here in Florida. Therefore, during our executive committee retreat, we made the decision to add committees to the treasurer and secretary. We also have 3 consultants. Those consultants are our financial consultant, our engagement and outreach consultant, as well as a strategic advisor. Each of these people are recognized experts in their particular areas in not only the nonprofit communities, but across the Florida and across the nation. And we have a wonderful parliamentarian, David Cullen, who is very, very familiar with PTA, in particular with Florida PTA, as he has worked for us for many years. The first commission that will come up this evening is advocacy. The presentation for the Advocacy Committee will be presented by Dr. Nancy Lothar, as well as Laura Feldman. Dr. Lothar is the chair of our Legislation Committee, and Laura is the chair of Resolutions. Nancy.
Good evening, everybody. And it is wonderful to join with you on this Zoom. And I am very much a proponent of advocacy. I have absorbed the mission statement wholeheartedly, and I hope to engage and empower all of our PTA members to advocate for our children. So we advocate on behalf of children's education, health, safety, and well-being, and not only within Florida, but also on the national level as well. We take positions on pending legislation, but also on pending policy rules in governmental agencies, for example. And these positions that we take on legislation and policy are based on national PTA and Florida PTA resolutions and position statements. And if you have attended our leadership convention in the summertime, you may remember having voted on a number of resolutions. Usually we have a couple every year, but I'm going to leave that description to my colleague, Laura Feldman. In any case, once a resolution is passed, once we have written a position statement on a particular topic, that's what we go by. Currently, members of our legislation committee are paying very close attention to our previous national PTA and Florida PTA position statements, because the legislature is in session this very moment in Florida for one of our committee weeks. And 2 of our legislation committee members are in Tallahassee this week. Today, they managed to hide out in a hallway during a tornado warning that we did not have a position statement on, but in any case, they kept safe. And we are asking them to speak with legislators in their offices on topics as diverse as school choice, school safety, juvenile justice, post-secondary options, anything having to do with the education, health, safety, and well-being of children. Now, I'm going to invite you to join the fun. I remember very well my first time at LegCon and how excited I was. That was at least 12 years ago, and you see where it's led me now. So March 26th through 28th is our first in-person legislative conference, or LegCon, since the pandemic. And I invite you to feel the power of your voice as you hear from key stakeholders and allies. You learn from seasoned advocates about how to be effective, what the talking points on various bills will be. You'll be able to network with colleagues from across the state. Maybe there's somebody from Escambia County or Palm Beach County or Hendry County who is facing exactly the same situation that you are in your school with the children in your county. So you'll be able to network with them. And the best part, you'll be able to meet with your legislators, other legislators, and depending on what is scheduled, perhaps even speak at a meeting of a committee on a particular bill that Florida PTA supports or opposes. So registration is now open. You should have gotten an email. The early bird price through the end of January is $70 per person, and it is $75 if you are a little later. So if you're in a local unit which needs to budget for that, make plans to budget now. And I'm going to now pass the gavel, so to speak, the imaginary gavel, over to my colleague Laura Feldman, who is chair of the Resolutions Committee, and we're going to go with the next slide.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Always a pleasure to work with you. I'm very excited about the Resolutions Committee. As Nancy mentioned, it's through resolutions and position statements that the delegates and members of PTA set the agenda as to what we will and the positions we will take when we are encountering a variety of issues that impact our children. So, but resolutions and to propose a topic follow a more formal process because we want to make sure that the positions and the resolutions that we take are based on actual research, preferably academic research, so that we are taking a well thought out and considered position. So in order to do that, we need a guide as to what that process actually looks like. So one of the first things that our committee worked on was developing the resolutions guide and updating the resolutions page on the Florida PTA's website. And we presented how to develop and write a resolution at a Road to Success workshop, because any member, any local unit, county council can write a resolution and submit it for consideration. So the process is that it's written and submitted to the committee, and then the committee works with the writers of the resolution to further develop it and make sure that it meets requirements and that it has enough research to back it up. And that process takes us a number of months, and then it's brought before the board, and the board will approve it's being passed on to the membership for the membership to actually consider the merits of the resolutions proposal. And in recent times, we've had quite the variety of topics. Last year, we had 100% clean energy. And we also had Pathways Out of Poverty that both passed and were adopted at our convention. And so the next step in the process, we often will take what was passed at our convention, and if it's appropriate, we will submit it up to national for national to consider. Unfortunately, this past year, they decided not to consider resolutions as they were written. So we will be refocusing our efforts and resubmit a new version for next year. And the other part is writing the resolution is not the last step as to what happens, or having it adopted is not the last step. The next step is to have an action plan as to how we will work as PTA to follow the actions that were approved of by the membership, and make this actually come to fruition. How are we going to help? So we are working to do exactly that with the resolutions that passed last year. And we are also in the midst of finalizing the proposed resolutions so that for them to ultimately be, hopefully, considered by the delegates at Leadership Convention in Orlando this summer. And in the meantime, I've worked with Nancy and developed statements from Florida PTA and from our president to respond to topics that have come up, such as the proposed ban of gender affirming care for trans youth. So we're not only looking at down the road to our future as to what stances we want to take, but looking what we can do to support our current positions and help PTA be even stronger in our advocacy for all of our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. Next up, we have Lawrence Claremont, our Vice President for Leadership Development, who will introduce his committee chairs who are on the call today.
So on the call tonight, we have Alvin Gainey, who leads our Leadership Development Committee. I don't see Nicole Smith. She leads our Student Empowerment Committee. We have Jeff Tisco, who also leads our IT Committee. And on the Leadership Convention side, we have Tony Nelson, who's the chair. And tonight we also have Katie Barris, who's the vice chair. And Katie, can you share a little bit about Leadership Convention?
Hey there, once I unmute myself, yes, I can. Thank you, and nice to be with you all this evening. Leadership Convention, Florida PTA Leadership Convention is our annual event that probably one of the events we are most proud of. We look forward to seeing you all at Florida PTA's. It's a premier leadership and networking event. We also accomplish some of the work of the association during our Leadership Convention with all of you, our general membership and attendance. Leadership Convention includes workshops. We'll hear a little bit more about that in just a minute. Our general meetings, of course, special events for recognition and celebration, and a lot more opportunities for fun to meet with other PTA members from around the state and reconnect with them from year to year, in addition to meeting with resources, vendors, and exhibitors who are also in attendance at the event. It will be held at, again this year, at Champions Gate Resort in Orlando from July 13th to July 16th this year. We'll be in the Osceola Convention section of the Champions Gate Resort this year. So that will be different for those of you who were there last year. We hope to continue to add updates to the website and to the Facebook page. And you'll continue to get notifications by email as well with updates that we have going forward. We will have registration information coming out soon. And in addition to lodging and reservation information that will be coming out soon. So watch for that. And I think that's it for Leadership Convention. More updates to follow.
All right, thank you, Katie. And if everyone can see the beautiful logo that we have, that Carolyn designed, for Leadership Convention, well, Carolyn helped to delegate the design for the logo for Leadership Convention. The theme this year is "We Are is Greater Than I Am." And during Leadership Convention, you'll also see us try to help you promote the event by using the hashtag Imagine, Believe, and Achieve. Now, leadership training does not stop and end at Leadership Convention. We have ongoing opportunities throughout the year. One of those is our 360-degree Leadership Development Initiative. And we, Florida PTA, are excited to offer the professional self-development opportunities through this program. Now, the Leadership Development Committee shares monthly opportunities for Florida PTA's leaders from various sources and offers scholarships for successful completion of selected courses. Now, this month's featured opportunities were included in the January newsletter, so if you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. And for more information, contact Alvin Gainey at leadership.development@floridapta.org. Now, the other opportunity that you have for leadership development is what we are all doing tonight, and that's participating and attending the Road to Success workshops. Now, these are informative and engaging discussions that will help you become a better leader and allow you to network with other leaders across the state. It's held every Wednesday at 12 p.m., as well as this time, 7 p.m. And I will always say be on the lookout for the invites from Florida PTA in your emails. Now, the beauty of Road to Success is if you can't attend the session, you can go to the website for recordings of all presentations, including the one that we're doing tonight. Now, at the national level, National PTA offers the Thrive Initiative. And Thrive brings PTA leadership development to you. And through Thrive's engaging short courses, you can take training at your own time as well as your own place, even from football practice, a dance studio, or even a soccer field. We know as PTA leaders, we are everywhere doing everything, for the children. Now, topics, just to name a few, cover areas such as planning, advocacy, board basics, memberships, and a lot more. And no matter where you are in your leadership journey, as a lifelong learner, there's something in Thrive for you. So please go to thrive.pta.org, sign up, and check out the courses that are available. And also please share it with your board members and your general membership. Now, the last thing that I have to announce is that the call for workshops has gone out, and you could be a presenter at Florida PTA's Centennial Convention. The call for Leadership Convention workshops went live in the January newsletter, and online submissions will be accepted until March 8th, 2023. And we're currently looking for workshops that align with the following priority areas: PTA officers, diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, advocacy programs, mental health and wellness, family and community engagement, youth and student engagement, nonprofit management, leadership development, capacity building, personal and professional development, and many more. So if you have an area of passion that you would like to share, with our membership and fellow volunteer leaders, please contact Alvin Gainey, again, at leadership.development@floridapta.org. And that is the updates from the Leadership Development Commission.
Thank you, Lawrence. That was a lot of information. All right, next up. So since I was formerly the Vice President of Regions and Councils, I guess I can say very quietly that they are the biggest, sometimes the baddest, but they are our direct connection to our local units. Vice President for Regions and Councils, Burt Miller.
Thank you, Madam President. Next slide. What is Regions and Councils? Everybody knows what VP of Membership does, VP of Leadership does, but what is Regions and Council? Regions and Council consist of 14 county council presidents, 5 region reps. A region rep will cover counties that do not have county councils in them. So if you're one of them local units that do not have a county council, then you will reach out to your region rep. To find your region rep, you can go to floridapta.org, board of directors, and their emails and addresses and everything will be right there, along with the counties that they're representing. We meet the mission and goals of PTA by supporting our local units. We support our county councils and local units by giving them training, helping them build membership. We are doing some conflict interventions, which this year seems to be a lot. That's what a lot of our county council has been doing, along with reinstatements and new charters. They might reinstate a unit that hasn't been PTA in 10 years or plus, and starting new charters. So how many reinstatements have we done this year? We have done 91 reinstatements so far, and we have chartered 10 new units throughout the state. So congratulations to all of our county council presidents, which on the call right now, we have Kelly Crumbaker from Orange County, Laura Schachter from Volusia County, Maria Norton from Miami-Dade County, Kay Hawkins from Duval County, and Melanie Gamble from Escambia County. Thank you, County Council Presidents, for taking your time out to be here tonight. And I'd like to give a shout out to a few of our new charters that we do have, in case anybody's on here. We have Wellington High School, PTSA, Blue Lake Elementary, PTA, the Conservatory School at North Palm Beach, Dorothy York, Patel Pioneers, PTA, Hidden Oaks Elementary, the Jaguars, PTA, Indian River Prep, PTSA. So if any of you are on here from any of those schools, congratulations and welcome to PTA. Our PTAs, we're not the PTA police, okay? Your county councils and the Florida PTA, we want to make sure that you stay in guidance with IRS. We make sure that your bylaws are updated, that you submit your audits and submit your taxes, and stay in compliance in order to be a viable 501c3. If you don't know who your local county council president is, again, go to your floridapta.org website under board of directors, and you'll see the list there. My email is VP Regents and Council at Florida PTA. And building membership, okay, when we reinstate or charter memberships, what does that mean for PTA? This means more child advocates, okay? We have a louder voice, and not only in Tallahassee, like Nancy was talking about, but nationally as well. When Florida PTA goes to the governor, goes to Tallahassee, and we say we have 200,000 members, it means a lot more than going there and saying we have 50,000 or 50,000 members or 100,000 members. The more members we have, the louder our voices for our students in Florida and nationally. So membership is a great deal to PTA, and that's why we're always pushing membership. And you'll hear later from our VP of membership. So that is my report. Oh, I forgot one thing. We have 658 active units in the state of Florida, and we have 539 pending units. And the units that are pending right now, it could be as simple as they haven't completed their audit from last year. They haven't submitted memberships. So our county councils right now are working hard on getting those units back to active. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Bert. That's a perfect segue into the presentation by our Vice President of Membership, and that is Charmaine Postal, who will introduce her committee members who are here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So introducing my amazing team of on the Membership Commission, I will start off with Denise Nicholas. Please show your face and say hello. She is our amazing awards chair.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Our membership chair, Wendy King.
Good evening, everyone. Excited to see all your bright and beautiful faces.
Our Family and Community Engagement Chair, Normie Askew.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And we're missing, we're on the call as several committee members. So we acknowledge you. We thank you for all the work that you are doing. And thank you for joining us this evening as well. And I have to mention Melanie Armour, who is our public relations, holding it down for public relations at this time. She's not on the call, but would like to recognize her. Next slide, please. So those numbers, 175,000. 175,000 is our membership goal for this year. 169,822 is the amount of members local units have reported this year. And keep in mind that little 4405, we'll talk about that later. 165,417 is the current membership. Why is this number different from the previous number? That is because, I'm sorry, why is this number different from the previous number? Because 4,405 is the number of late membership from last year. That is why it's important that from month to month we're reporting, because each month have to have a specified membership amount. So if you submitted in August if you submitted in August, that number was counted, but that number was counted towards last year's membership number, not this year's. So although it looked like we're very close to our goal, 9,583 is the amount of members we need to get to our goal this year. And our Finance and Treasurers Committee will talk about that a little later, but that's 9,000. We can do it because why? We have 49 board members. This is the amount of numbers of the board of directors across the state here to assist with chartering local units, supporting county council leaders, and then 19 is the amount of county councils that oversees all of our local units. 8 is the executive committee that continues to support you, and I apologize, that number should be 45, not 49, as Madam President previously mentioned. 8 is the executive committee members that are here to support leaders that support you. 5 is the office staff that ensures that all of our compliance issues are up to date, ensuring that we actually have an association that is on the up and up and representing our PTA brand the best way possible. And 1, represent all of us collectively, represent one PTA, one voice. When we think about membership, we have been doing great. We have been growing membership. I'm sure we've been retaining membership. We've been engaging, awarding, and thinking. But how do we continue to be great? How do we continue to grow our membership and exceed that 9,583? Growth. There are several tips on the screen, and this slide will be shared with you, but there are several tips on the screen that shares how you can grow your membership. The membership committee is doing some fabulous little things that they're putting together, and you'll see it later. I don't want to spoil it. But mid-year membership drive, that I can share with you right now. You know, at the beginning of the year, we're excited. We get those membership drive going. And guess what? We have families that join our schools, and they join after those membership drives. And to foster a more inclusive environment, mid-year membership drive not only captures those members that come after, but it also captures your teachers, you know, who may have changed around, and anyone you've missed at the beginning of the year. Emails to your past members, that's retaining. The retention part, where you're emailing your past members that have not renewed their membership. So do you know who your members are? Member Hub truly helped you. You don't have any excuse at Florida PTA anymore. Actively promote the brand. That's part of the engaging. Family engagement, Normie, the Center for Family Engagement at National PTA, Florida PTA, we are here to help you. If you need assistance with how to engage your families, we're here to give you those resources. That is what we're here for. Awards. We want as many awards as possible this year. Whatever you're doing, recognize whatever you're doing. There is an award category. Denise will tell you for almost anything and everything that your PTA could possibly be doing, from membership to newsletters to whatever. We want you to award them. fill out those award applications and fill them out before May 1st. You can do that right now, January 21st. If you did anything for Christmas, this weekend and fill out a newsletter. And then don't forget to thank your leaders. Don't forget to thank your membership. That is how your PTA, our PTA, the One PTA brand will be great. Ask everyone to join. Send those newsletters, thanking those members. I like to brag a little. That's how you are a walking billboard. And last but not least, ask yourself, have you joined? Have you joined? I've joined, and I shared earlier today that I can be truthful and say when I first started PTA, I did not join PTA because I thought that with me being a board member, that was my membership. So have you joined? And be honest with yourself. If you haven't, that is one more membership towards our goal. And if you have any other ideas, our membership chair is membership@floridapta.org. Our family and community engagement chair, actually, if you go to www.floridapta.org, you'll see all of our contact information. And that is my report, Madam President.
Thank you very, very much, Charmaine.
Madam President, before we move on.
Yes.
I forgot if Maria was on, I wanted to give her a shout out because Miami-Dade reinstated 30 new units so far. I just want, Maria, I know you're on and I forgot to add that into my report. Congratulations to you and Miami-Dade for doing such a great job so far this year. Keep it up. Let's see if you guys can double that amount the second half now.
I'm sure we will. Thank you. We're up to 31 as of today.
Wow.
Thank you, Maria.
Wow, that's really good news. Thank you for sharing that, Bert. And thank you, Maria, for the hard work that you're doing in Miami-Dade County, which is where I live, by the way. Thank you. Maria is my president. All righty. So next up, we have our Education Commission. That presentation, because our Vice President for Educational Development, Karen Mazzola, could not be with us, will be led by Dr. Nancy Lothar. Nancy, if you, let me go ahead and introduce the committee chairs for that particular commission right before you get started. The Education Committee itself is led by Felita Tutt. Education Pathways is chaired by Phyllis Shaw. Mental Health, Wellness, and Safety, the chair is Asia Claremont. And lastly, Social Responsibility is led by Crystal Hayes. Take it away, Nancy.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And you see, education covers a very broad spectrum. And in order to accomplish our goals, we interact as much as we can with a number of governmental agencies because advocacy occurs not only at your local school board or in front of your municipality or your county or at the state legislature or the national legislature, but also where some of the nitty-gritty of what affects our students happens, namely in governmental agencies. So, for example, the new math standards and the new literacy standards that rolled out a couple of years ago, Florida PTA was intimately involved in the drafting of those standards and through partnerships with the Department of Education. We also have been speaking out before the Board of Education, the State Board of Education, which either approves or disapproves of policies that are proposed by the Department of Education. For those who may be on Facebook, ask to join our advocacy group because we share a lot of information which will educate you and engage you and empower you. And of course, very, very important this year, sign up for Voter Voice through Florida PTA, which is going to have a new wrinkle this year. And that new wrinkle is a texting option. Anybody who went through this last election cycle probably received numerous texts from numerous candidates. And why? Because it gets your attention in a short period of time and it works. Well, we are going to mobilize this particular option this year as well for Florida PTA in order for you to be able to advocate and educate more effectively. And on the national PTA level, of course, you can join the Take Action Network, and you've got the link there to sign up for Take Action Alerts with National PTA. There are a lot of moving parts this year. What's going on with the National Department of Education, which may not necessarily be in the same direction as the State Department of Education, but lots of room for us to be engaged and to be able to speak on behalf of all children. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Nancy. Next up, we have our, we have our Secretary, Melanie Williams, who'll be talking to you about the committees and activities that fall under programs. Melanie?
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. Programs available through Florida PTA include STEM, School of Excellence, Reflections, other national PTA programs, and the resource fair that takes place at convention. So just allow me to introduce who's on the Zoom here with us, our Reflections Chair, Jenny Moon. Jenny, if you could say hello, if you're on camera, if you can.
Good evening.
Good, thank you. And with Jenny, we have Karen Spangler. Karen, are you able to speak?
Hi there.
Hello. And Colleen Morgan. Colleen?
Hello.
Thank you. Lisa Oyland is here also. She is actually our programs chair. I didn't see you earlier, Lisa.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Awesome. And is Gita here? Gita? Gita is our STEM chair, and Jenny Granger, are you on? She's our School of Excellence chair. This month, we welcome 4 new members. Karen and Colleen are 2, and we also had Joanna Rabinovich and Marjorie Fontalvo. Are you on? Okay, I tried to go through the pictures here. Awesome. So on your screen, next slide, please, you'll see some of the work that we have been doing and we will continue to do. For STEM, I have some great news to share with all of you. Florida PTA, we have a new award. This year, it's called the STEM Award. So if your PTA uses science, technology, engineering, and math to engage families, we want to highlight and celebrate your work. So we encourage you to apply for this award when the award system is open on the Florida PTA website. The award will be presented at the Florida PTA Leadership Convention, July 13th through 16th. So if you want to take your phones out right now and scan the QR code, get that link to learn more about the award, feel free to do that. The School of Excellence is a national PTA program focused on identifying and implementing an action plan for school improvement based on PTA's national standards for family school partnerships and the Center for Engagement, the 4 I's of family engagement. Florida has 76 schools that have enrolled and completed the initial steps to becoming a national PTA School of Excellence. So we are very grateful for that number, and we're here to support you in your work. So please reach out to our chair, Jenny Granger, if you need help. Reflections, as you can see, the deadline has passed. We have received entries, participation from 13 county councils and Sunshine State PTSA. Total entries received are 59 dance, 58 film, 100 literature, 55 music composition, 96 photography, 116 visual arts, and 18 special artists. And that's a total of 502 submissions. So we're so thankful. We're currently in the judging process, and we thank you all for supporting this amazing arts program. Save the date, our Florida PTA Awards ceremony will be on May 6, 2023 at the Oak Ridge High School here in Orange County. The Award of Excellence winners will be advanced to National PTA for the final round of judging. Jenny Munn and her team did an awesome job. I just want to give her a shout out. I think this January 16th was the deadline, and I believe she worked 48 hours on that day, just getting everybody situated. So thank you so much, Jenny. Great work. In addition to these programs, National PTA has several programs designed to engage families and the community. They're available to all our local units. So we encourage you to visit floridapta.org and pta.org for program information and materials. Some of the programs are listed on the screen. Notes from the backpack are very good. PTA Connected, Smart Talk, all of those wonderful programs that you can take part in. Our resource fair is designed to provide information and bring awareness to the resources available for all families and children. This will take place during the annual leadership convention. So if you know of any organizations who may be interested in sharing their valuable resources with us, please visit our website for more information. We'll put the word out later. And finally, if you are interested in joining our team and continuing this great work that we're doing here at PTA, we are currently in need of 2 subcommittee chairs, and that's the other national PTA programs and the resource fair for convention. So the link to serve will be shared, or you can go on our, check the newsletter. I think it's in the newsletter. It is in the newsletter. So go ahead and check that out. So again, just thank you, Lisa, and your team, and for working so diligently to support my child, your child, our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie, and for putting that pitch in there for volunteers. Next up, we have our treasurer, Jude Bruno, who will talk to you about our finances. Jude, are you there? There he is.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for hanging out.
Jude, I believe your connection may have been lost.
Development arm that I had the pleasure of supporting. Within resource development at Florida PTA, we have our scholarship subcommittee, which has an application that is on our website now. We are accepting applications for our high school seniors. If you have a high school senior that is graduating this school year, invite them to apply for a Florida PTA scholarship. The deadline is March 22nd. Once again, that is March 22nd. They have to be a PTA member, and there's a multitude of means for them to do so. Of course, by joining their high school's PTA or PTSA, by joining an elementary, a middle school, any PTA in their community. And if they must or need to or desire, they have no problem in joining one of our statewide PTAs, Sunshine State PTA or Kaleidoscope PTA here. So I have the fortunate opportunity of serving as your treasurer. And typically we announce this at convention, but if we can transition to the next slide, we have completed our audit for the last fiscal year. That is the name of our auditing firm. I am not going to butcher it at this late hour, but they did provide us with a report where we did not receive a management letter, which is a good thing when you are at this scale of leadership and organization. The only thing that we were already working on that they recommended that we continue to do so was to consolidate some of our bank accounts, accounts as an organization so that we can continue to provide even more accurate and simplified accounting of your dollars as leaders in our local units. And as well, we have completed R990, and that is also soon be available for public inspection via, of course, XR and the IRS website. If we can transition to the next slide, please.
Did we lose Jude again? It appears so. So I'm going to try and fill in for him. This slide demonstrates our income versus expenses for the last few years. You can see that sometimes we take in quite a bit. Jude, are you back?
What was the last? I am back, and what was the last thing did you guys hear?
You said that you were putting into the budget a car for the president.
Absolutely, although we were trying to decide.
Hey, Jude, go back to where the auditor, because you cut out, and I got a text message from somebody about you cut out after what the auditor was talking about.
Yeah, recommendations that were given to us. We have a clean audit. We're updating our chart of accounts. We're consolidating our bank accounts at Florida PTA. There were no deficiencies. We've completed our 90. And hopefully you guys heard at the beginning about having high school senior, register, complete an application for a scholarship, which is due on March 22nd.
We're getting about every other word of what you're saying, Jude. Okay, so Jude has stepped away again. As I was saying, this is a breakdown of our income versus expenses. You see that some years we take in quite a bit and we spend quite a bit. Some years we don't take in quite as much and our spending is decreased. The figure that you see there for 2022, 2023, of course, is not reflective of an entire year yet. But as we draw closer to the end of the year and once our audit is done in 990 for this fiscal year, that number will be updated. Jude, are you back?
We'll see for how long.
Okay.
But you did cover the nutshell for this slide to illuminate for our members. What I will continue to share is that we thank each and every single one of our leaders for the work that they're doing to recruit and to get parents and community members to join and to enhance our voices. We make sure that every dollar that comes in is spent in furthering our mission of making every child's potential becomes a reality. And I want to make sure that that is not lost to those on the call. So what we have before you is what Charmaine had mentioned during her report. The numbers for 2022-2023 school year are still coming in, but this is our historical trend, how we've ended each of these school years that are listed from 2016 to 2017 to where we are presently. This is the work that our county councils are doing. This is the work that our local unit leaders are doing and making sure that we are building our backbench, we are sustaining ourselves, we are bringing more advocates into our association, inviting and accepting the mission of making every child's potential a reality. We will continue to update these periodically, and we're looking forward to announcing at convention that we've met our goal, because Charmaine is going to make sure we meet our goal so that we can get Madam President a brand new car.
Of course, Jude is talking Matchbox. All right, thank you, Jude. All right, next up, I'm very happy to introduce you to those of you who don't know and reintroduce you to those who do know, our office manager, Robin DeMar, who will introduce our office staff who has joined us this evening.
Thank you, Madam President. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. I will take the moment to recognize any of our staff who are on this call. I do believe I saw Kimberly Adamski, our compliance coordinator.
Hi, everyone.
And I think I also saw Susan Kasarik, our communications coordinator.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
I wasn't sure if Heather was on. I didn't see Heather. Did anyone see Heather? Okay, so I'll move on. Tonight, I will share a little bit about what's been going on in the state office. As you may or may not know, the state office is located in Orlando. And as Charmaine mentioned, there are 5 of us who work there. Next slide, please. Some work more behind the scenes, such as Tiffany Wright, our bookkeeper. Tiffany manages Florida PTA's financial data. She works closely with our treasurer and assists with areas of compliance for Florida PTA. As you heard our treasurer say, we have completed our Florida PTA's audit and 990. Susan Kasarik, our communications coordinator, keeps you informed, whether it's by email, social media, or sending out the kit of materials. Susan also works behind the scenes and closely with Madam President. Since the start of our fiscal year, she has sent out 38 emails. Don't quite have the number on social media posts, but quite a few have gone out. And you should get ready because we have quite a few events coming up and you'll be getting a lot of emails, so read your newsletters. Some of our other staff members are on the forefront and you may have emailed or spoken to them once, twice, maybe even quite a few times. Kimberly Adamski, our compliance coordinator, is there to help you get your bylaws approved or assist you with 990s. To date, Kimberly has approved 192 bylaws, processed 896 audits, 791 IRS 990s, and assisted 22 local units with resolving IRS penalties. Heather Tisco, our membership data coordinator, is also on the front line. Not only does she maintain the Florida PTA database, process membership dues or new and returning officers, but she works closely with Kimberly to help you stay in compliance. What is staying in compliance? Compliance items include current officers submitted to state, current national and state portion of membership dues submitted, bylaws current and up to date within 3 years, IRS 990s filed, and submitting the previous year's audit. Heather reports 1,445 local units in our database, 1,087 local unit PTAs have approved officers, 648 local units are considered in compliance. We have 439 local units with approved officers, but may have compliance issues. There may be compliance items that are due to the state. But remember, you must be in compliance to be eligible for awards and grants. Lastly, we are getting the state office ready for a few upcoming events and preparing to celebrate our centennial. This year, we painted the offices, bathrooms, and other interior parts of our building. And we are continuing to make improvements throughout the building. In fact, the Sunshine State PTSA has scheduled a day of service at the state office for Founders Day. That will be February 18, 2023. This will be a landscape beautification project. This concludes our updates at the state office, and the staff and I look forward to seeing you soon at one of our future events. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. So now I'd like to talk to you very briefly, because I see that it is 8 p.m. already, about staying connected and engaged with Florida PTA. We mentioned our website, which many of you have probably visited already, but I invite you to go back often because it is updated periodically and more so of late. You can follow us on social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Lawrence mentioned earlier our Road to Success sessions, which are held each Wednesday generally at 12 and 7 p.m. The topics vary, but we hope that they are always interesting for you and that you feel the desire to come back and tell someone to join you. Our President's Roundtables will be resuming next month, where I invite local unit presidents to join me and have a conversation about whatever it is you decide you want to talk about. Our local unit open mic night, which isn't always at night. As a matter of fact, the last one was held on a Saturday, and we had the great opportunity to welcome a newly chartered local unit president into the fold. Lawrence also mentioned our 360 Leadership Development Initiative, which falls under the purview of the Leadership Development Commission, which offers great training opportunities as were outlined in our last newsletter. And Melanie, she always finds that spot to mention that we're looking for volunteers. Volunteer recruitment is no longer a once a year thing under this term. It is year round. Again, look at that newsletter. You'll find a link to get to the Google form where you can tell us what your areas of expertise are and what you're interested in contributing to Florida PTA. Next slide, please. Just a reminder about a couple of things that are coming up. The registration for our legislative conference went out today, and it'll be going out again tomorrow with a little bit of updated information. Our centennial celebration kicks off April 14th. That's a Friday evening at the state office with an open house. If you've never been to the state office, it's a perfect time to go, as we'll be having a movie night as well as face painting, pizza, and other activities for families to stop by and see your house, Florida PTA's office. It's followed by a luncheon on Saturday, April 15th, which will take place at Second Harvest Food Bank. There will only be 150 tickets available, unfortunately, but that afternoon will provide you with a little bit of history, a delicious lunch, and an opportunity to network with other PTA leaders and as we celebrate being 100 years old. Lastly, Leadership Convention is coming up July 13th through 16th, and it's always the very best training that you will ever receive, barring any other training that you can go to for PTA. Our reflection celebration isn't there, but Melanie did mention that, which is coming up on May 6th. All of these are things that should be included in your budget. If you don't have line items in your budget that will cover these legitimate PTA leadership expenses, please do so this month. January is normally the month where our local units and county councils look at their budgets and they make amendments to the budget. But important also is the election of your nominating committee, not the selection, not the appointment, but rather the election of your nominating committee. If you have questions about electing the nominating committee, please feel free to reach out to your county council, to your region representative, or to Bert, and he can help you. Have questions about amending your budget? We have a stellar treasurer who is happy to take your questions and help walk you through that. Additionally, not only are our volunteers available to you, as Charmaine pointed out, but we have an awesome staff in Orlando who are there to help you as well. Lastly, thank you for being here this evening. I know there are lots of other things that you could have been doing after working all day, after taking care of your children and your families, but you chose to be here because you have a vested interest in Florida PTA. We are an association, and you know that. When you join at the local unit level, you join not only your local unit, but your county council, your region, the state, and national PTA. We're not that other group. We're a part of one another. We advocate on behalf of our own children, our neighbors' children, and children all across the state because we recognize what we pour into them is what we will get back. Thank you again for being here, everyone. I hope that you found some nuggets of information that you can share with others. Check out the video when it's ready and post it, and perhaps you'll show it at one of your meetings. But please take advantage of the videos that are posted on our website. Thanks again, and good night, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Great session. Great.
Good night.
I learned a lot.
I'm glad to hear that, Mary. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.